Imagine for a second that you wanted to disappear. And I don't just mean, deleting your Facebook account or moving to a new city. I mean, really, truly, surgically removing yourself from the human record. In today's world, with facial recognition, digital banking, how would you even do that? Today, we're unpacking a story that answers that question with just terrifying precision.
It's a case that's been called an existential rumination, which is a very poetic way of describing a police investigation that just hit a complete brick wall.
We're looking at a man who didn't just want to die. He wanted to unexist.
Exactly.
So we're going back to June 2009 to the town of Sligo in Ireland. Our subject is a man known to the world as Peter Bergmann. But the first thing you have to know is that Peter Bergmann, he never existed.
Right, that's the whole starting point. This isn't your typical missing person case. Usually you have a family who's desperate to find someone. Here you have an architect, a man who spent his last days building a puzzle that was specifically designed to be unsolvable. He basically ghosted the entire world.
And the way he did it, it feels like tradecraft. It's not some impulse. We're going to break down the sources today, the reporting from Aon, the actual Gardaí and investigation files, because the timeline, it's like watching a professional operation.
It really is. It's methodical, disciplined. And it all starts on Friday, June 12th, 2009.
Okay, so set the scene for us. Where are we?
We're at the Ulster Bus Depot in Derry. It's sometime between 2:30 and 4:00 p.m. Cameras pick up a man getting on a bus to Sligo. He's carrying a black shoulder bag and, a standard carry-on. He looks like any other traveler.
What does he look like? Because I'm picturing someone suspicious, trench coat, sunglasses.
And that's the genius of it. He looks completely respectable, slender build, about 5'10". He's older, late 50s, maybe early 60s. Gray hair, blue eyes, he's got a tan. Witnesses described him as looking like a professional. Maybe a professor or a businessman.
And his clothes, they match that vibe.
Perfectly. A black leather jacket, blue trousers, size 44 black shoes. But here's the first clue for the investigators. Or what they thought was a clue. His clothes were almost all from C&A.
C&A, the big European retail chain.
Right. They're everywhere, but they're huge in Germany and Austria. So you combine that with a slight Germanic accent people noticed, and the police immediately build a profile. This guy's probably German or Austrian.
So he arrives in Sligo at 6:28 p.m., grabs a taxi, and heads to the Sligo City Hotel. This is where the real game starts. He gets to the desk. How does he pay?
Cash. Purely cash. Now, in 2009, that wasn't as weird as today, but for a business type traveling booking several nights, it's a choice. It's about avoiding the credit card trail. No transaction, no digital footprint.
But you still have to sign the register. You have to give a name.
And he does. He writes Peter Bergmann.
Okay, the alias. But what about the address? Because that detail is fascinating. It wasn't just a scribble.
No, this is where you see the preparation. He writes down, Einstetters 15, 4472, Vienna, Austria.
Which to a hotel clerk in Sligo looks totally legitimate.
It passes the eye test, absolutely. But when the police actually looked at it, they realized it was a masterful fake. First, Einstettersen isn't a real street. It sounds plausible, but it doesn't exist.
And the postcode was the real giveaway, right?
Oh, yeah. 4472. Postcodes in Vienna always start with a 1. Always. A 4 would put him somewhere in Upper Austria. But even then, that specific code, 4472, it's unassigned. It's a ghost code.
So why not just pick a real random address in Vienna? Why go to that trouble?
Think about it. If you use a real address, there's a tiny chance the police show up and bother some innocent family. Or maybe the hotel tries to forward some mail. By creating a plausible fake, he makes sure the check-in is smooth, but any investigation hits a dead end right away.
It's a buffer. He's buying himself time.
Exactly. He's ensuring that by the time anyone checks, he'll be long gone.
So he's checked in. Now we're into the weekend. And this is when his behavior gets really strange. This is the part that baffles everyone.
This is the purple plastic bag phase. It's all over the CCTV footage. Over the next few days, he leaves the hotel again and again. And every time, he's carrying this purple plastic bag.
And it's full. You can see it's full.
Oh, yeah. It's visibly heavy, bulging. He goes out, takes a long walk, and when he comes back, the bag is empty, folded in his pocket.
So, okay, he's obviously getting rid of his belongings, but Sligo has cameras everywhere. Surely they caught him at a public bin at some point.
You'd think so. The Gardaí, the Irish police, they spent weeks looking through the footage. They have him leaving with a full bag. They have him returning with an empty bag, but they do not have a single frame of him actually disposing of anything.
How is that even possible?
The only conclusion they could come to was that he'd mapped the blind spots. He must have walked the town and figured out exactly where the cameras couldn't see, an alleyway here, a corner there, and he used those spots to dismantle his entire life, piece by piece.
That's chilling. He's doing counter-surveillance on a whole town.
Right. He wasn't just throwing things out. He was making sure that the act of throwing them out was completely invisible.
So he's erasing everything. But on Saturday the 13th, he does something that seems to be about reaching out. He goes to the post office.
Yes, at 10:49 a.m., he buys 82-cent stamps and some airmail stickers.
8 stamps. So 8 letters.
It implies that, yeah, and this is the loose thread that drives everyone crazy. Who is he writing to? Did they ever arrive?
And nobody ever came forward. No one said, I got a letter.
Nothing, which leaves a few possibilities. 1, he sent them, and the people who got them respected his wish for privacy. Or 2, maybe he never even sent them. Maybe writing them was just part of his process. And the letters themselves ended up in that purple bag.
It shows he had connections, though. He wasn't some total hermit.
Exactly. He was severing ties, not pretending they never existed.
Okay, so on to Sunday the 14th. He's almost done. He gets in a taxi.
And he asks the driver for a recommendation. He says he wants a nice, quiet beach to swim.
The driver suggests Ross's Point.
Right. Beautiful spot. Takes him out there. But Peter doesn't swim. He doesn't even get close to the water. He just gets out, stands there, and looks at it for a few minutes. Then he gets back in the taxi and goes back to town.
He's scouting the location.
It was pure reconnaissance. He needed to see the place, the layout, the tides. He was verifying the location for his final act.
Which brings us to Monday, June 15th, the last day. He checks out of the hotel around 1 p.m., and there's a key detail with his luggage here.
Yes. Remember, he arrived with a shoulder bag and a carry-on. When he leaves, he has the shoulder bag, the purple bag, and a different black luggage bag.
So the original carry-on is gone.
Gone. Dumped in a blind spot. He's shedding his skin.
He goes to the bus station for his last meal.
Yep, 1:38 p.m. Orders a cappuccino and a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. It's so mundane. And while he's eating, he takes some slips of paper out of his pocket.
The last bits of his old life.
He reads them one last time. Then he carefully tears them in half, and then in half again, and drops them into a nearby bin.
And that's it. The final link is cut.
He gets on the 2.20 bus to Ross's Point, a one-way trip.
Now, once he's on the beach, he becomes really visible, which is strange.
It is. He's seen by at least 16 people that day. He's not hiding. He's just walking the shore. He nods at people, says hello.
They said he seemed calm.
Perfectly calm, not distressed at all. He looked like a man who had made a decision and was at peace with it. The last confirmed sighting is just before midnight, walking by the edge of the water.
And that's the last time anyone sees Peter Bergmann alive.
The next morning, Tuesday, June 16th, around 6:45 a.m., 2 local guys are out training for a triathlon. They're running on the beach, and they find his body.
So the police arrive, and the scene is just another puzzle.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
He's found wearing purple Speedo-style trunks with his underwear over them and a t-shirt. His other clothes are neatly folded on the shore. But there's no wallet, no money, no ID.
And the clothes themselves.
This is where it gets really meticulous. Every single label had been cut out.
Every single one. The brand, the size, the washing instructions.
All of it. Snipped off with scissors.
Why? I get thrown at the wallet, but the laundry tags.
Traceability. A specific brand, a batch number. Sometimes that can be traced to a particular region or even a specific store. He was removing any possible way for them to reverse engineer his origin from his clothes.
So the assumption is he drowned.
That's what you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
But the autopsy comes back, and the pathologist says there's no evidence of what he calls classical saltwater drowning.
So he didn't drown.
His heart stopped. The official cause of death is cardiac arrest. But that's not the shocking part of the autopsy. Not even close. The shocking part is what they found about his general health.
This is the medical paradox.
Mm-hmm. Peter Bergmann was a very, very sick man. He had advanced prostate cancer. It had spread. He had bone tumors, ischemic heart disease. One of his kidneys was gone.
Bone tumors. That's supposed to be one of the most painful conditions there is.
Agonizing. The kind of pain that requires high-dose morphine. And yet this man was walking around carrying luggage, riding buses.
But the toxicology screen must have been full of painkillers.
They must have expected it to be. Maybe even a lethal dose. But the report came back clean.
Clean, as in nothing.
0. No morphine, no prescription drugs, not even an aspirin or an ibuprofen.
Wait, I can't get my head around that. He had bone cancer, and he wasn't taking anything for the pain.
Nothing. And that right there, that tells you everything about his motivation.
The paper trail.
Paper trail. Prescription drugs leave a record. The pharmacy, the doctor, the name. He was willing to endure unbelievable, raw, physical pain to avoid leaving that trail.
So he chose anonymity over relief from agony.
It speaks to a level of willpower that is just almost terrifying. When he was smiling at people on that beach, he was likely in excruciating pain.
And that probably explains the cardiac arrest.
The cold water. Exactly. His body was already pushed to its absolute limit. The shock of the cold Atlantic water likely triggered the heart attack before he could drown. His heart just gave out.
So no ID, no labels, no drugs. What about his teeth? That's usually the last resort.
And he had very distinctive dental work, lots of it. Root canals, crowns, and a full gold tooth in the upper back right.
That seems like a smoking gun.
It should be. But dental records only work if you have something to compare them against. There's no global database you can just upload that to. You need a name. You need to be able to ask a dentist in, say, Vienna, is this your patient? Without a name, it's just a map with no coordinates.
What they tried. They sent everything out.
They did a huge search. Fingerprints, DNA, photos to Interpol, appeals in Austrian and German newspapers.
Nothing.
Total silence.
Yeah.
5 months go by. No family, no friends, no coworkers, nothing.
And this is where it gets frustrating, the international red tape.
Right. An Interpol notice has to fit a category. Wanted person, missing person. Well, he wasn't wanted for a crime, and technically nobody had recorded him missing, so he fell through the cracks of the system.
He didn't fit the form.
He didn't fit the boxes.
Yeah.
He designed his exit so perfectly that the system designed to find people didn't know what to do with him.
So after 5 months, what happened to his body?
He was buried by the state in the Sligo cemetery in an unmarked grave.
That's just such a lonely end.
The funeral was attended by just 4 gardoyu. The detectives who'd spent months trying to find out who he was, they were the only ones there to see him off.
He won.
In a way.
He absolutely succeeded. He came to Sligo with one goal, to erase himself. And he controlled every single variable until the very end.
It just leaves you wondering, why? Was he protecting a family from the pain of watching him die from cancer? Was it an act of love?
That's the generous reading. But you could also see it as an act of punishment, denying his family any closure. We'll just never know.
It's incredible. We spend all our time worrying about our privacy, about being tracked online, about CCTV. We feel like we're constantly being watched.
And this man, he proved that maybe we're not really.
Exactly. He proved that the whole system is actually quite fragile. If you're willing to pay the price, and for him, the price was agony and isolation, you can still just step off the grid. You can delete yourself. It's a powerful thought. We think our identity is this solid thing, our bank accounts, our records. But he showed it's mostly a performance. And if you stop performing and you burn the script and the props, the audience has no idea who you ever were.
So I guess the final question we're left with is the story of Peter Bergmann terrifying? Or is it, in a weird way, comforting? Yep. Is it scary that a person can just vanish like that? Or is it a relief to know that even now, a human being can still choose to become a ghost?
That's definitely something to think about.
That's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.